Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work. Grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting in, you gotta work. Grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Carl Lee, where sports, culture, and community intersect. Join Carl and frequent co-host Hollis Lewis as they dive into engaging conversations with guests from all walks of life. Let's Talk is proudly presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com. Let the conversation begin on Let's Talk.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Let's Talk with Carl Lee, where every time that we're on, we try to get into a subject and chew it up, try to find the facts out of it. And we have a great show today, and I think you're going to enjoy it. You may disagree, but I think you're going to enjoy it. Let's Talk is proudly presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. Visit FrankWalkerLaw.com for more information. You can catch Let's Talk with Carl Lee every Sunday at 1 p.m. and Thursday at 7 p.m. on 580 WCHS. If you've missed any of the episodes, you can go to WCHSnetwork.com/Let's Talk, and you can get any of them there. You can also follow us on Facebook. So today's show, my co-host Hollis Lewis is back as usual, and we're honored to have Jonathan Frazier from Oak Hill, played at Oak Hill, played basketball, played in college ball at Radford and Bloomfield State.
How'd you know all that?
Huh?
How do you know all that?
Did our research.
I got to get my research in. I got to have it. All right. And currently CEO of hospital out of Kentucky, right? Yeah. And the director of basketball operations for a newly formed charter school, Impressions Academy in Huntington. He also is married and has 4 children. All right. So
smoking hot wine.
Tell us. So before we get started, tell us about the charter school, kind of what you guys are about, and the initiative that you're trying to undertake at this time.
Real quick, thanks for having me, guys. It's about
Thank
time.
you, brother.
About time. The most opinionated man lives on the hill. Expression Academy, man. I mean, I think it's about time for us to have an opportunity to level the playing field. You can send your kid to boarding school for academics, so why can't you send your kid to a school that specializes in athletics? And I think that's important as we evolve. So this is what that school is. First and foremost, it's a Christ-centered school. So it's a faith-based curriculum, and so that's very important to our family. And then they support high academics and elite athletics. And so that's what we want to do. We want to marry the two and give kids an opportunity to expand their gift and hopefully monetize it or use it to the fullest of their capabilities to enhance their lifestyle.
So if I'm hearing you, and correct me if I'm wrong or it's not quite this or quite that. So what you're making the case for is that athletics now play a larger role and maybe even have more value potentially than education itself. And you want to open up that opportunity for anybody or the most gifted athletes that come your way.
Yes and no. The first part of it is education is that trumps everything. So before, but if you really think about it from a biological standpoint, everything was working together when you were in the womb. You were developing in all parts of your body, mind, as well as physical. But anyway, no, education is primary in everything that we do. But we're also just saying, hey, this has always been what it is. Let's start talking about it, because when you really get to the root cause of it all, there's a part where we pay $5 or $6 to go see a kid play, right? Mm-hmm. We'll go see $5 or $6 to see a kid play, and we have been monetizing off of kids and saying, hey, this is okay. Don't you worry about this part, but you keep on working 5 extra hours a day doing something, and we're going to go ahead and charge $25 a ticket to go see you play all the time, right? Mm-hmm. And on your name and likeness, on your sweat and hard work, But that's okay because that's what it's supposed to be. No, I think we Expressions are saying, listen, if our children are elite in education as well as athletics, this is a place for them to come to where they can be educated and not be influenced to do to go against the gift that God has given them. So they're being put in the right direction. Elite kids are being put in the right direction, understanding education, understanding their body as far as they're an athlete, being an athlete, and then giving them the resources to excel. Just like if I was going to another private school that's not known for athletics, right? We want to be able to marry that athletic component as well as that educational component.
Hollis, you and I had talked, we had said, and I don't remember when and how far back we had this had a conversation, and I made the comment that when you talk about the student athlete, in reality, whether it's said or it's not said, I don't know if that athlete exists when you start talking about trying to get to college, trying to get to be a D1 player. I don't know if we are focused on truly the student athlete, because now if you transfer, if you're a good player and your team's not good, you're going to transfer. What are you transferring for that sport?
Yeah.
So ain't nobody making a case for the education. They don't care what the school what their record is does not matter to the transfer. What matters is what? The basketball or the football or the baseball.
And I think what this basically is, and what I'm hearing what this new school is going to be, it's a vocational school to put it in layman terms, right? It's a vocational school for athletes. Just like, for example, you had a school of the performing arts, or if you go to Ben Franklin or Harvard or one of those schools to get a trade. This is what this is.
I like that.
And it doesn't really, and again, not necessarily sports are paramount over academics, but they work hand in hand, and we're going to focus on bringing you in, developing you as an athlete, and then that's going to influence your academic performance as well. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well said. But I also think, why can't they be married and be the same, be held the same account? Right? I'm going to give you, if I'm a high level athlete, right? And everybody at this table right here can attest to that. You being at the highest level, right? We think different.
That's a fact.
They're not like us in certain things, in certain aspects, because our thinking is different. We're very focused on the prize at an early age. Some people just know this is what I want to do. And so they have that for astronauts. They have that for soldiers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. And so if I identify a kid that's reading at the 9th grade level in 3rd grade, they're going to snatch that kid, aren't they, and put him in the place where he can excel in his environment or her environment.
That's a good way to put it.
And I think that's very important. And it's about time.
Yeah.
Because the ugly truth of the matter is sports is bigger than what people get credit for. And when they start seeing how it trickles down to the very fibers of community at the lowest levels, as we've been seeing, i.e. Daddy
that's what we've been arguing about for the last year.
You've got to give it credit. Like, listen, sports is a driving economy.
Yeah. And so let's just break down the nuts and bolts of it. So it's going to be high school, middle school. How's that going to work?
Yeah, it's going to be high school, a national team high school, which we're really excited about. We'll have some high-level players locally as well as internationally. We're really, really excited about that one. And then our middle school. We're going to have a national-level middle school basketball and football team. I'm in charge of the basketball, so I can speak to that. Football team is doing a great job. But now we're identifying elite athletes early, student athletes earlier. And basically those gifted kids. Now, is every kid gifted? No, but you can be in that environment. And when you're in that structured type environment, it bears some type of fruit when you're disciplined, when you're focused, when you're regimented as an athlete. So that's what we're trying to promote, an opportunity for the elite athletes to come to, but also elite individuals with elite mindsets.
And you mentioned football, basketball. What other sports are you on the horizon?
Football and basketball right now. But
that's high school and middle?
Yes.
Okay.
And we'll have, not high school football yet. That'll be next year. And then we're supposedly open the volleyball, the soccer, as well as we're looking at baseball and cross country for next year.
Nice.
Okay, so help me with this. So I'm a parent. I have a child, and I think my child's the best kid on the team. Okay, and I think he needs more. And I find a lot of times when that parent is when the kid's the best kid on the team, I think that's looked at as being something even larger Like, right? Like, so that he may be better than you just because, you know what I'm saying? But he may not. He may crumble. How do you decipher that kid who may have some skill set, but yet can't get into that environment where everybody's as good or better than him because now he's got that challenge? How do I make that decision to pull my kid from here and go there? Because I think parents see their kids way better sometimes than maybe they are. Some may underestimate how good their child could be, but I think it's heavier on seeing that the kid's better, and all of a sudden you pull your kid, you put him in the system, and he gets chewed up. Is there what would you tell a parent to say what's going to make them make that decision that they should come to you? How could I make a decision? How do I know how good, or is that for you to make? Can you make that decision for me?
I think we ultimately make the decision because we'll accept you or say this is not for you.
Okay.
If you plan here to come to excel in basketball, if you don't, now but we also don't turn people away. But if that special kid says, "Hey, I want to come here, Mom and Dad think they're special, and I'm coming here, I want to excel in basketball." He's a great student, so that's not the issue, right? We really want to get him more time away from the regiments and the rules of the SSAC, which kind of hinder kids. That's pretty much what parents want to get away from anyway. Be able to practice and play when they want to and who they want to. I think the cream rises to the top. I mean, it's just period. If you're good, you're good. I've never met that. Is it life is sports or sports is life? I think life is sports, right? And so what we're just asking is the same question. If I can't, my resume is not good enough to get the job, what happens? You don't get the job.
Yeah.
and I think that's important for us to understand. Life is sports, not sports is life.
See, this would have been ideal for me.
Right.
This would have been ideal for me because football was it. You know what I'm saying? I played basketball. I did this and did this, but football was it. My dad was into football. My mom went along with it. You know, she wasn't necessarily a fan, but she would go along with it. But it would be perfect for me because I've said this on the show before. I was the kid who did not look. I didn't even want to have a fallback. Like don't my grades. I don't need my grades because if I do grades, then I'm in a sense giving myself an option that one morning I won't wake up in the morning and get out on the road.
He's telling the truth.
Come on now. Kids out there listening,
disclaimer.
You can do both. You can because whether we all like it or not, the sports is going to end one day.
Trust me.
And
one day it's going to end.
You're the 1%.
So it ain't about making it.
Yes. Listen,
it's going to end.
I'm not bragging on it. I'm saying I know I was wrong. Like I you know, and I'm gonna tell you what. When I got cut for 4 days and had no degree, you know, and had just 4 years of college and just playing around, I for the first time in my life, I was like, oh. What am I going to do now?
Yeah.
You know, if I don't get back into, if they don't bring me back, that's a challenge. So I'm not making it as a case of that's the way you do it.
Yeah.
But I'm just like,
so why can't it be together? Why can't it all be?
I think it can, and I think for most people, nobody's going to be stupid as me. You know, but to the point that you were making about that kid that's really wanting to be successful, that would have been me, and somebody would have had to slap me and say, look, you still have to do this.
Correct.
Yeah. And I think it's important because I think we see a lot of athletes who, you know, aren't, you know, frugal with their money. And like I said, whether it ends in high school, whether it ends in college, like for me and Jonathan, or ends in NFL after you, it's going to end one day.
Yes.
So it's not necessarily about having a backup plan. It's about being prepared for life as it's going to present itself. But I would ask this, and this is going to be a criticism we can maybe move on, or at least a talking point that some people may have. I heard a podcast with Andre Iguodala today, and basically what he was saying is that the problem with NIL, the problem with monetizing athletes, particularly younger athletes, 15, 16, and those going to college, is that they don't develop the hunger and they don't develop the adversity, which from his perspective is killing American basketball.
Sure.
Because we see at the top of the draft that was just last week, it was a lot of international players, particularly from France. Yeah. So what would be sort of your response from your perspective? Because not only are you having the school, but you have kids in AAU traveling the country and different things of that nature. So what's your response to his criticism?
Right. Well, first, shout out to Pastor West for giving us this opportunity at Expression. And I want to be real clear. Academics and athletics is a marriage there.
Yeah.
It's a marriage.
Yes.
And we challenge our kids in that same atmosphere, but we do support athletics. Now, to your question, I'm going to need you to repeat it again because I had to have that disclaimer.
No, Andre
Iguodala. People clip your stuff. And they're like, hey, we don't want you to go to school Expressions. I'm going to do it like that. No, we are a Christ-centered, faith-based program that we just believe that God is doing something great with some kids that they put in our path. And we believe that we can start educating kids about how to maintain and develop their gift.
Okay, well, this isn't necessarily about the school itself.
Right,
this is a bigger issue.
Yes.
But what he's basically saying, Andre Iguodala, former 76ers, former Golden State Warrior champion basketball player, basically what he said was that us giving these NIL deals, us not making kids go through the totality of the process. Back in the day, you had to stay 3 or 4 years in college.
Sure.
Then you get drafted, different things like that. He's saying that kids lose the hunger. Kids don't face the adversity. So when they come to the NBA, they're not fully prepared to play. They haven't developed the skill set because you don't have to get it from the mud or go through the grind, as it were. So what would be your response to that?
Anything that would parallel, I'm going to give you an analogy. My father, old school, 75 years old, when he tells me that he's done something, and I've done the same thing in my career, maybe parallel, his was always harder. His was always harder. Back in the day, I had to do this, Hollis. Well, Daddy, I did the same thing. But no, you didn't have to do this. I had to walk 20 more miles, right? And if you don't do it this way, right, the way I had to get it out the mud, then we'll always identify. When you're getting old, you're always going to identify with a genre or a decade of music. And you're not going to let it go.
Right.
100%.
And you're going to say your decade was better than that decade. But when it comes down to it, change is hard, right? But when you really want to look at this thing, you're having kids that are spending their formative years sacrificing something because these kids are playing at a high level. And everyone else, and this is my personal opinion, is monetizing off of this.
Yeah.
Right? Well, here's the guarantees that the NFL doesn't want to give you. If my kid spends 8 years, from 10 to 18, right, and does something special that people enjoy and want to purchase, right? He's like a video, he goes viral. Why can't he benefit from that?
Okay, and I'll challenge you on that. And I would say you're right. However, when we're seeing the results, for example, when we seen the men's college basketball season, when we seen the NBA finals, the play, at least in my eyes, is mediocre at best. And this is compared to the women's games, which we've been talking about, which is, to me, the play itself, not necessarily the skill set, from a viewer standpoint, is superior at this moment in time.
Follow the money. Ain't nothing wrong. ain't nothing wrong.
I'm talking to Jonathan now.
You're talking to Jonathan. Like when you look at the NBA, we're talking not from a school standpoint. We're talking, sports enthusiasts, sports experts. The NBA is alive and well. NBA is alive
right
and well.
now. We got to remember, in Coach's lifetime, the NBA Finals was on tape record. So it ain't that far back that the NBA was a third, fourth tier sport.
Evolution is the word. What are you scared of?
I'll say this, and I'm not a huge NBA guy, and when I see it, I can probably get about 10 minutes of it, and I don't see the effort there. Okay, I don't see the effort. I'm just but
I mean, did you watch the finals?
Okay, hold on. So when I watch the girls, when I watch the women, right? They're down on the ground, they're pushing, they're fighting, and again, football. Even in football, I get it that you have to make it safe. You have to make it safe.
What are the apples and oranges? You can't really. Football is a result of safety. I don't know if them guys are out there doing it.
No,
but they can't do it to a degree that
some can't do it. And because they can't do it, but because you don't have to try to. Ain't nobody trying to tackle Walter Payton.
I think
if you have Walter Payton in the game today,
I think now in football the rules have dictated where you can't go as hard as what you did. Basketball is a little different.
No, it's not. They changed the rules. They changed the rules so that more points would be increased.
Yes, it's offense,
but it doesn't make a better game though. So,
I think they think that it does. I think that people think the more points on the board makes the game better. I know some games that was 7-0 that was great games. But now what we're doing now is, I think what we do now is we're trying to feed what we think the appetite is. I want to feed you as much of offensive basketball because you're a basketball player. I want you, because I think that's what you want to see. You don't necessarily want to see defense. You don't want somebody going in there taking a charge. You want points. They think that if we get more points, we get more people. We get more people, we get more money. And I think that's how that works.
They're pros. They don't miss a lot of shots. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think we have to start understanding. Again, we be reminded. We have a pro in here, so I'm struggling with how we're not appreciating how these giants are working 10 hours a day to be almost perfect in their craft. Right? You're telling me I got to put a ball in a hoop 10 feet in the air and dribble past somebody that ain't got one. And shoot it from 24 feet and make it 42% of the time.
But I think if you look at it, you had one of the best players in the NBA, Luka Doncic, not play a lick of defense in that final.
But that's sports.
I don't understand how.
That's the
but we're talking effort, though. I'm not talking about skill set.
But I'm gonna say it this way for you, Hollis. It might not be what you meant. If you're that guy, right, and you got a ton of fans. I'm one of them. You got to show me something.
You got to show. You don't get days off.
I'm looking.
You don't get
You get a day off.
You get a day off.
Not when it's working.
You take PTO.
Not when I'm working. You don't get days off during the game. So you can't just play. What's your point is? They are probably working 10 hours, but you just can't work on your offensive game, or you just can't work on your defensive game. You got to have like a totality on both sides of the court.
But that's the beauty of the NBA. Those perfect flaws, right? Those perfect flaws. You still have a premier person with an elite gift, but they also have a personality. They also might have some vices. They have a life, and life does trickle over to work. That's the drama of the NBA. That's the storyline of sports. That still don't negate the fact that they're shooting a ball from 24 feet.
You're right about that.
42% of the time.
But when you're looking at, again, just to compare, when you look at the WNBA, Asia Wilson, the best player in the WNBA right now, she's dogging it at both sides of the court. She's elite offensively, and she will dog you defensively.
They have always been elite in the WNBA. And the fact that you're mentioning that now lets me know, that brings me right back to my premise. They've started putting dollars into that for marketing.
When is
the last time you've seen a Liberty? When is the last time have you seen a WNBA team on prime time?
Hold your thought. Hold your thought. You're first out of the box when we come back. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com. Comment on episodes, ask Carl and Hollis questions, or suggest topics at our Facebook page. Search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee, and remember to like the page to become part of the conversation.
Let's face it, bad things happen to good people. Seriously injured in a car accident, trucking accident, or even wrongfully arrested. Life happens, and when it happens to you, you will need sound legal advice and aggressive representation. That's when you call attorney Frank Walker at 304-413-0179. That's 304-413-0179. Lock it in your phone, text it to a friend. 304-413-0179. Or visit online at attorneyfrankwalker.com.
Find previous episodes of Let's Talk at WCHSnetwork.com/Let's Talk. This is Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Now, back to the conversation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I thought we were taking a break, but in the middle of the break, we may have the police. We may have the police coming.
I'm gonna let you flow, but mine is in the chamber.
Well, I'm gonna give a shout out to our sponsor before we get back into this fight, because we may end up needing him.
Lord.
So Frank Walker Law. Real talk, real experience, real results. For more information, go to FrankWalkerLaw.com. All right. So, and just so you know, when we go to breaks, sometimes conversations don't stop. And this may have been the first time that I'm not sure the studio wasn't going to get tore up in the break. So I don't know.
Go ahead. I'm going to let it. Go ahead. Go ahead, Counselor.
We may need to have seatbelts in here. Just keep people in the seat.
Buckle up.
So
walk us in it. Okay, so I'm just saying, like, we need to. I don't think we're underappreciating our professional athletes.
Okay.
And then to the point about the W.
You're saying we
underappreciate our professional athletes. We still, in my opinion, now this is really opinion. Oh, you make this much money, so you should do that, right? You should do that. That expectation is for everyone in life. All right, so WNBA. We're talking about viewership of the WNBA. When they just started putting money in the WNBA and marketing like they should, when Caitlin Clark, in my opinion, was rising to the scene. If you look from the NCAA all the way up, you have never seen, and I'm giving you facts, that many primetime NCAA games and now WNBA games since Caitlin Clark has entered into the league. And she's a phenomenal player. She's on my list of dogs, and that's an exclusive list. But marketing dollars are how you're going to see that. And that's what I'm trying to get everybody to understand. You know, why you ask a young lady that plays girls basketball and ask her who Cheryl Miller is, and she should be able to tell you. Right. But we never got a chance to really see her. So all I'm saying is Lisa Leslie. We got a chance to see her a little bit on WNBA.
But they should know her like they know Shaq.
Correct. But we did not see.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, Cheryl?
Yeah.
We did not see Dawn Staley outside of the Olympics. Right? And so, but we see Caitlin Clark due to the marketing dollars.
But here's my point, and I agree with you in some respects. But Caitlin Clark brought the eyes to women's basketball, professional and college. And then once the eyes were brought to the women's game, people started to realize in watching the women's game that it is a better game now. From a viewership standpoint, from a maybe a purist, from a traditional, from a hustle effort, it is a better game. Watching Angel Reese is like watching an old school 90s type of power forward center, like a Charles Barkley or something to that effect. However, and what I'm saying though, it is a better watch. If you compare them, it's oranges to apples. It's different.
Is it a shorter game?
Same fruit, different.
I'm asking, is it a shorter game in time?
I don't
think that's a plausible question because I don't know.
But I don't know either.
But regardless of that skill set, it's a better watch. And I think with the better watch, then the marketing dollars or more started to come to it.
And let me say,
because if it, hold on, last point. If it's not a good game, to me, if it's not right up there with every other professional sports, then marketing dollars don't follow it.
Understood.
Well, and again, to your point about Caitlin, she doesn't have to be the best player. But what she does and what she did in college was something that we hadn't seen.
Do you mean best player now in the WNBA or best player in college?
I'm not saying
she had to be the best player in college.
Oh, okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But you got Reese too.
And she was the best player in college.
Okay,
she was.
But here's what I would think. And again, this is not my sport, but I'm going to say what she does and what she can do with shooting threes. Mm-hmm. I think that drew the attention to her more so than anybody else is shooting. You know, if you down inside, getting the ball, posting up, scoring, that's typical basketball. But when you're shooting half-court threes, as a normal shot, that's drawing attention. That's what's making her.
Appreciate basketball. Y'all don't appreciate basketball. Y'all got basketball guys. I'm calling Legend all day. Coach Legend, you just said doing a post move, blah, blah, blah. That's typical basketball.
I know. I don't want to downplay it. I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize. Yes.
And what I'm saying to that point, that's what I love. I mean, this is just me personally. That's what I love about the women's game. Back to the basket. It's traditional basketball. NBA is a bunch of dudes out there shooting.
But
it's back to the basket. It's back to the basket. Post moves.
But I think from being the football player in the room, okay. You know, I think that everybody in football wants a touchdown. The fans want you to score a touchdown. They don't care if it's offense, defense, however, but they want touchdowns. Yeah. They want the score to be 40-30. And that's a great football game. They don't care. 7-0, 3-0. They don't want that.
Yeah.
You know, and that doesn't, and so the marketing piece to that, that's hurting. That you as the marketing part of it, you're hoping that game is out of control in football. Basketball, and again, I'm not the expert. I'm just saying, in my opinion and my view, what makes me want to watch it is the physicality of it, of these women, the ability to shoot shots that even the men's not.
What are they doing different than the men? I'm telling you, let's talk science of this here. Let's talk facts here. You're telling me, because full disclosure, the women's game has been on fire for the last 10 years, minimum.
But we just haven't seen it.
Yeah, we haven't
back
looked at
to the
it. You're right.
premise.
You're right.
So
You're
back
right.
to the premise. Right. Now, here's the other part where I think if I could verbalize this in the right way, because I'm a girl dad. I got a basketball player, a daughter, and we've been on the circuit. We've seen it. I appreciate women's basketball. I appreciate it so much. The good thing it has going for it is the women's game is 40 minutes long, and they only play 40 games this season. Let's talk about that. You're tired of seeing NBA because the regular season don't matter because you see it all the time. They play 80-some games, 90-some games, you know what I mean? And so if you see it all the time, that product does get a little bit diluted. You don't see
I'm with you.
the women's game like that. So it's exciting. I mean, I didn't see this before because you could probably tell me every move that Luka does because you see him, so much.
That's a good point. Because they put the in-season tournament in. Try to spice it up a little bit.
Just like with football. What do they want to do? They want to make you play what? More.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're going to
Do
go
you
to
see what
18
I'm
games or
saying?
something.
The WNBA is a victim of the fact that they can't do that. So they
Are they a victim or are they actually
they're a victim.
winning
We're
from
not doing what we're supposed to be doing to support them.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I meant the games. Is that a bad thing? Because I think it's a good thing.
It's a good thing for us to watch because we're in tune with it and it's not as saturated. We're excited to see these games because they're so few.
Right.
It's 50% less.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree.
What is going to, and I don't know if this is even a legitimate question, but can you get the women to watch women's basketball? Because I don't know if their women are. Well, I'm just saying. I'm making the case that I think there's a ton of men who have watched basketball who have really now kind of fallen into.
I think in the last 10 years we are, like NBA fans. Let's just do it that way. NBA fans are now saying, wow, the WNBA is really stepping up. They put an influx of money into the WNBA, guys, and they attack sponsorships. So, again, my premise is the game has always been amazing for the women, but nobody could see it.
Exactly. So my point is now that we can see it,
we're coming over.
And I think the women, because traditionally WNBA was watched by men. Men was the viewership audience. So, and I think just with Caitlin Clark and the eyes on it now, women are starting to come over.
And I think that's a great thing because for the young girls who
I think it's super
who may not even had an athletic thought to themselves, but when they see this, all of a sudden they're like, oh.
Yeah,
Mom, can I have a ball? Can you buy me a ball?
You're seeing a revolution.
Oh, there's no question.
So speaking of young people, we got to switch topics. Bronny James. Now, we talked last week.
Hey, son,
Coach Lee, and you predicted it almost spot on. You said the Lakers was probably going to take him in the second round, and you said he's probably not going to get drafted but for the Lakers. So we got two points we want to cover here. Now. As far as the nepotism piece, and I'm gonna shoot it to you, Jonathan. Is this a good thing? How do you view this?
This is a Jonathan Frazier statement. As a father, not as a CEO, not as a coach. This is just how I see it as a father who basketball has been good to our family, right? And we understand it. It put me through school, so it's a big piece of our life, and pay some bills as a referee.
And you were a coach for
15 years. And I mean, Hollis, are you asking me, is nepotism there? Yeah.
No, I'm just saying in this sense. We know nepotism and like management ownership. We know in the business side of it that's been happening since forever. But far as on the athletic side, where you actually have a father who advocated and facilitated his son to get drafted, is this a good thing?
It is daddy ball. And I think it's important for us daddy ball is intricate. It's not just one classification, but it is evident that there is favor. Right? Is that fair?
That's fair.
There's favor. And I think it's up to us as humans to understand when favor, as we talked about in the green room, becomes discrimination to somebody else's kid or their entitlement to be. If your kid is right, you know what I'm saying? And so the first point is, dads, I would not, if I ever accused you of daddy ball, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I understand. In the back of my mind, I say I understand because at the end of the day, blood at times is thicker than water, right? And that's a part of a father's DNA.
And see, you probably will know who I'm talking about, but we had a young kid who came through football and basketball and was really, really good. His dad coached him in basketball, coached him in football, but he was good. I mean, he was legitimately good. That happened in both. Okay. In both. And I don't know if that's all, and so I got it. And matter of fact, currently I have a dad who refuses to run his kid because he doesn't want people to think that he's all about his son. But his son can run the ball, and he's a bruiser. So you got parents that I think are aware of that, and they're hurt. I mean, they're trying to pull their kids back, and to me, I think that's wrong. Because how do you decide as a dad how good your kid is to where you should be putting him out front, and can't anybody say anything? Because I told the dad whose kid he's a natural football player, young kid, natural football player, and I told him, I said, run him. Don't worry about it. If anybody's complaining about you not letting him, he's running the ball too much, I'll deal with that.
I'll say this from the nepotism perspective, and I'll approach it from like a socioeconomic perspective. We have never, at least in this iteration of sports, from this side of it, we've never had somebody like LeBron James have that much power to influence not only his kid getting drafted, his kid getting a guaranteed contract, and probably is going to play at some point during the season.
And don't forget the culture.
Yeah.
He did it for the culture, too.
Yeah, we've never had this. So for that, particularly in a business that, frankly, he doesn't own, right? So I think that's
a valid point.
That power,
that's bigger than what you may have thought.
So,
that's bigger than what you may have thought.
Like that power move, and this is truly a power move for him to be able to facilitate all this. In addition, not only bringing his son in, but also bringing the coach that he handpicked in with no coaching experience, right? So he's pulling kind of all the strings. So I say that, and I admire that, and I'm for that. And I think in some iterations it's a good thing. In some it may be bad because, you want your kids to go out there and get it. But as a Laker fan,
oh God,
I don't like it.
Who if I've got a son now and so it's set now. If I've got a kid that has a chance to play in the
it's
NBA,
not set. No.
I'm just
not set.
If there's a possibility, I'm going. Well, how are you going to say that when
you got to be LeBron James level to do that?
I don't know. I hope
you got to be Greek freak level to pick your brother. Not everybody doing that.
And tell Miss Bus this is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Well, and the interesting piece to me is all these teams passed on him until the Lakers had a chance to take him.
That's another part of it.
That's another part. So I know that ain't no use me taking your girl in the draft because I know 2 rounds later you gonna take her.
No, the word was out.
Oh, yeah.
Don't touch him.
Yeah.
It was an unwritten. See, now we're talking about daddy ball. The unwritten norms.
Yes.
Right? The unwritten norms. God bless his soul, the daddy that needed your input in order for him to put his kid out there. Like when you, I'm gonna write a book, Daddy Ball, and when you're talking about Daddy Ball, it is. There's so many different types of dads that play Daddy Ball. And it's not always bad because there's a dad that plays Daddy Ball that says all you kids are mine.
But is it good though? You said it's not always bad. Is it good? Is it good? What I'm saying is this: LeBron James had the power to not only facilitate his son coming to the team in which he plays for, he had the power to say, somebody draft him, and somebody would have drafted him, right? Regardless if the Lakers at 55 or maybe even later in the draft, somebody gonna pick him up.
So you're talking about legacy.
But I ask this though: is it a good thing? Because what's going to happen? LeBron has been an upstanding citizen. He's been one of the best, role models that sports have ever seen. But what happens to the irresponsible guy who just pushing his son through, who maybe is not as deserving? Ultimately, does this hurt sports?
I got a question.
You got to answer my question first.
Sports.
Does it hurt sports?
I think it does. I personally think it does. I do. And then I have this question.
Hold on, Mr. Frazier. Does it? You don't think it hurts sports overall?
I think it's evolution. I keep telling you this. I think sports. That's why we talk about this. That's why there's an ESPN. Sports has to evolve, and these are the processes, and this is the change that we see.
But it involves in nepotism.
No, nepotism is always there. There's always going to be
not in this iteration. Not in this iteration. We have never seen this. What? This is what player have you know is lobbied to get his son drafted?
But you've seen it in the you see what Jerry Jones does.
No. I'm not talking about on the corporate side. I understand. I'm talking about strictly on the player side. I'm talking about players.
So if it's unprecedented, that's what makes it so big, but it's not new.
Yeah, I mean, that part's fair.
Well,
it's really not new.
It's not new. It's not.
What's the real buzz? Nobody's even said it. You have a black billionaire. That's the see. We're going to talk about these things. We got to be really real about it. You got a black billionaire. That's never been done.
That's true.
Right? Well, and then let's be honest. Once you and there's going to be other black folks who are going to enjoy that because he's got that opportunity to do that. He can do that. That's to me. I understand that. I come from the dad who's sitting down with me a day after the game at the breakfast table and telling me everything that I did wrong. He ain't telling the coach to play me. Yeah. He's telling me that the expectation is for us to get to Sunday. Yeah. And I said, us get to Sunday.
And would you want your son in that situation to step outside of my shadow? To step outside, because again, he's already a junior. He's playing. His dad picked him up. Everything has been dad. Yeah. At some point, do you say, "All right, man, I'm gonna give you the alley-oop, so I'm gonna make sure you get to this level, but you got to go somewhere else and find your own path." You see what I'm saying? Is that a better methodology than just saying, "Just come with me full circle"?
But have either one of you all saw? Did any of you see the Bronny's interview?
No.
Man, I don't care where you are on it, he's going to change your mind. Because he's making the case that everybody's complaining, everybody's calling it negative and all that. He's the worst person to do that.
Right.
That should be LeBron. Because this is a kid who we don't know yet. We don't know how great he's going to be.
Yeah.
And he's out there saying, this shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to do this. All you all saying this. That should be LeBron. Because if it does not work out, everything coming out of his mouth is like, this ain't a problem. This shouldn't be an issue. This is just y'all people who just don't like it.
If it doesn't work out, then the blood is not on LeBron's hands. I've done everything that I've done for you as a father. I've walked you into the family business.
But that's a tough one to wash your hands from. That's a tough one.
No.
Go ahead.
Because here I am opening up a door for you in the family business. It just happens to be the Lakers.
I got you, and that's fair. That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Right? What you do with it is on you. Because we as fathers, we can't control our children, but we can get them to the place where they can make a decision for themselves. What we are underestimating as a fact is that is at their level. It's just not at ours because we look up to that like, whoa, wow. But this is what they do every day. This is business. I am walking you. This is legacy. You were born to do this. Nobody's talking about George Bush Jr. and Sr. He walked him right into it.
Yeah, but he had to go win an election on his own. He wasn't drafted to the.
What do you actually think?
But we ain't gonna get into all that.
No. But you actually, but it's still a process. You're still dealing with millions. You just can't say there's still some red tape.
Do you think though? I think this is to Hollis's point. Do you think though that this step is the most boldest step in the NBA, and does it change going forward?
I don't think it changes much because again, you only got one LeBron James. This ain't going to be for everybody.
But you're going to think. See, okay, so let me give you this. Let me give you this.
Okay.
Whether NBA, NFL, baseball, doesn't matter. Every player's looking at LeBron and saying he's a great player.
Yeah.
And he's making all that money. But they're not necessarily saying, some of the better players not saying, he deserves anything more than me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I ought to be able to do what he's doing.
I got you.
You see what I'm saying? Because you're talking about the top egos.
Yeah.
You talking about the top egos. Ain't nobody sitting around like just saying, "Oh, I'm good with that because that's LeBron."
So the premise is saying like, if he can do it, I can do this.
Absolutely.
Which I mean, I could see.
So
that.
what makes him any more special? Just because he scores more points? He's got some MVPs.
I would just say the things that he's built on and off the court, right? That the legacies that he's leaving behind. He's arguably, some people would say he's the greatest basketball player ever, right? And just back to the point, I would say that. Did he do too much for Bronny? Because every successful second generation business, whatever, you hear the stories. My dad, my granddad made me scoop the stuff at the farm. Yes. I had to go clean the floors at the office. Then straight up entry level.
That thought too.
And I had to work my way up. Every summer I was doing this, and then when I got out of college, I did this, and I worked my way all the way to the top. Yes. Those are the stories, success, second, third, fourth generation stories that I heard. So with this move, you getting drafted, you going through this whole process, getting a guaranteed contract. So that means you're going to play at some point during the season, right? So is it too much? Too early? Too soon?
I think so.
Entry level, you mentioned that. My dad, I had to go scoop and wash windows and things of that nature. So I want us to gauge what we're looking at here at their level, right? Mm-hmm. This is entry level. So note that. Okay. This is entry level.
See, that's why I like John.
For him. That's my guy. You see what I'm saying? This is entry level. And what's better than one billionaire? Two. And about to be what? 3.
Now 3 is the real deal. We could draft him first round.
You
first pick,
so
baby.
Now you
I
see,
need him.
Now you see where I'm going. You see, LeBron's got us talking about this, but he's really trying to own these teams. And own this brand. And sometimes you have to step out like this in order to get y'all distracted about this, because I'm really doing something bigger than that. Y'all stay on Bronny. I know what Bronny gonna do. Bronny gonna get in. He gonna be okay, but he's gonna be still continually to make millions every year, continuing our brand, continuing our legacy. I got a real dog coming up in the next 2 years.
Got a real dog,
right? A real dog. And so you think if I got Bronny in like this, you already know number 1 pick is going wherever I want it to. So do you see what I'm saying?
I feel you.
I kind of like that.
So we can't stop. We got to stop looking at power moves are power moves. And if you don't understand it, you're going to talk about it. you know what I'm saying? And we allow presidents to do this, right? LeBron is not thinking about daddy ball. We are, because that's at, respectfully, just me speaking, my level, right? But when you really think about this is LeBron's boy's summer job. When you're thinking about the level of it. This is your summer job.
I would love. I don't have it in my mind yet.
Are y'all with me?
I want to challenge that, but I don't have anything with it.
What do you mean? He's already worth $20 million.
Yeah,
the kid's already worth $20 million. This is a summer job.
So I see what you're saying. If there's in fact a bigger play, which I think it is, LeBron, I think he'll be an NBA team owner.
Yes,
NFL team owner. I think he's going to definitely multi-sport, big major sport team owner. So if you're approaching it from that standpoint, then I could see what you're saying. I mean, I guess I could buy.
That's all opinion.
But still, as a Laker fan, I don't like because they ain't helping us win no championships.
But let's talk about the magnitude. Are we talking about this because it's a basketball player? Because I just pulled up a stat. 13. Check this out, guys. Coaches projected examine nepotism in the league in 2022. 12 of the 34 NFL head coaches, including 2 interim coaches, were related to current or former ones. Of the 770 on-the-field coaches that season, at least 13% had a father, son, or brother who was currently on a former NFL team or a coach. What does that say? Could you say that's nepotism, or could you say my bloodline is thorough?
He done silenced it.
Yeah. See, we might not want him on here no more.
Because if you're in that environment, imagine if you can reciprocate. And I don't know if you have, but if you had a video of what you had to do in a synopsis of how you had to get there, and you could reciprocate that to the point where kids could register that. I'm talking about how they read it. You just take it, write it down. You did this, and this, right? You had that channeled up, and you could give it to those kids, man. You would produce higher level athletes. It's just what it begots. It's just what it begots. And so I think that my whole family's good, y'all. Like, I got 2 NBA guys in my family and an NFL guy, Calvin Johnson. You know, Tywan Lawson is my cousin. The first cousin, this is blood, right? All them guys down in Logan, all them Murphys and all them them Roses, them my people. And so I got a 6'9" nephew that's going to go to the league. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And our household is structured for excellence. You see what I'm saying? Like, and so when people start saying, "Oh, this is daddy ball, all these kids can't be good," why not?
Yeah,
because we haven't really seen it at full effect. Level. Yeah, we've seen
True.
it at a younger level, and it's like, okay, that's going to run out in middle school or high school.
Level.
Now, you are.
But you're seeing it. But you're seeing it even like Deion Sanders. We got to remember Deion Sanders. What people don't realize, he has 4 children that play Division I football.
All 4.
Division I, 3 to play Division I football. 1 the girl play basketball.
The Mannings. What about the Mannings?
The Mannings.
Yeah.
So we
What
have
about
seen
King Griffey Jr.?
Yeah.
His dad pulled strings to get him playing what they played together.
Floyd Mayweather, Kobe Bryant, Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. So we've seen iterations of it. We just never seen it like this.
I think
this is like a shock to the system.
Kobe got rid of Shaq, y'all.
Yeah. I'll just say this. I just think we've never seen it so outward.
Blatant.
You've never seen what the media portrayed as failures do what we're doing. You have never seen a African American man do this in a genre that we really care about. Because you have seen it as president, guys.
Yeah.
So what is the big deal? So that's what I'm like, what are we talking about? You had a black president 8 years ago. And you've seen power moves by strong African American people. What is the difference? Because it's basketball?
Yeah. Well, you might have sold me, man.
He may have got me too.
Guys.
Well, no, I think to look at it from a higher perspective probably was a much needed conversation. And I think we just look, like I said, I'm looking at it from a fan's perspective. I'm not necessarily looking at it from.
I'm looking at it from a social.
Yeah, I'm looking at I looked at it from the social perspective too.
But I think the benefit that you have is that you're in it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You're in it, and you're
10 toes.
Yes, and you're understanding it, and I'm gonna use this word, manipulating it in a way that you think is best, and that's not as negative.
That's fair.
You know,
that's fair.
Yeah, because I think that's something
with morality. Coach.
Yes,
with morality,
because you've seen it work against you.
Yes,
and now you're saying, okay,
yes, now
I'm in a position that I can do it, and don't judge me. If I'm placing my kids in the right situation.
Well, the product, and don't forget the product speaks for itself.
Yeah, exactly.
The product speaks for itself. But like my middle school kid, my baby boy, he's a 4th grader. He plays on the 6th, 7th grade level. He can't do that if he goes to public school, right? Yeah. And so now I'm playing him at the middle school level with another 5th grader that's elite, another little 5th grader named Noah, and they are balling. And so, what do you got to let horses do?
We got to get there. We got to get there and see.
Yeah, we're gonna see that.
We got to come to you and see this.
We got to let them run.
You know, because I want to see this firsthand.
It's a 4th grader. Well, you seen. Listen, we talk about my diggy. You know, that's the dad. But there's the part that we got to understand. There's the dad component that I in my heart feel like my kids are elite, and then there's reality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's reality, and you know how I had to deal with that. So you can always say Frazier was delusional about his kids, but this is what the parameter was. This is what the point of emphasis was. I played them against the elite, engaged it at that point.
That's what you have to do.
So you see what I'm saying? So he's daddy about it. No. I put my resources, my time, and put my kids on the elite level.
And I'm going to close on this one. And the most interesting piece to that is when they understand that they're playing at that level. That's the biggest thing. Once you walking into Marshall and playing 4 years at Marshall, anybody can play at Marshall. You know, that's how everybody. This fool ain't thinking he gonna go play nowhere on Sunday. And then you get in Sunday.
I love Marshall.
And me too. Okay. And then getting to the league and then actually having success. There's 1,000 millions of people who knew me who say that fool ain't gonna never play up there.
Right.
There's no way.
Or get your college paid for, or maybe get some NIL before you're 18 so that you can have a nest egg when you start your business.
Yes. So
that's what we're after.
All right, we this clearly. I don't know if we really finished this at all, but we're going to have to come back on it. But I do want to give another shout out to Frank Walker Law. Real talk, real experience, real results. For more information, you can go to frankwalkerlaw.com. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this was a great show. I even learned quite a few things today. And so, Jonathan, appreciate you being here, man.
Guys. You do it great.
Thank you, brother.
All right, we're out of here.
I'm getting trouble.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com. Comment on episodes, ask Carl and Hollis questions, or suggest topics at our Facebook page. Search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee, and remember to like the page to become part of the conversation.
If you fall, dust it off and get back up on your feet. Anything could be a win, yup, even defeat. They say sugar bad for you, why is victory sweet? Couldn't play with big kids, I had to sit in the street and watch from a distance, but over time I grew. If I put in the work, in no time I'm due. Everything that I worked and prayed, I'm okay. If you ask me, how did I do it, I'm gon' say, you gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting in, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work. 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 You gotta work.